Long ago, in the vast and powerful Persian Empire, there ruled a king named Xerxes. He was wealthy and proud and known for his grand banquets. At one such feast, lasting 180 days, he called for Queen Vashti to appear before his guests. But Vashti refused. The king was humiliated. On the advice of his nobles, Vashti was removed from her position. A new queen would be chosen. Across the empire, beautiful young women were brought to the palace. Among them was a young Jewish girl named Esther. Esther was raised by her cousin, Mordecai, a wise and faithful man. Though Esther was beautiful, what set her apart was her character. She listened to Mordecai's advice and kept her Jewish identity secret. When King Xerxes saw Esther, he was smitten. He placed the crown on her head and made her queen. Not long after, Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate when he overheard two palace guards plotting to assassinate the king. Mordecai quickly reported it through Esther, and the plot was stopped. The men were executed, and Mordecai's name was recorded in the royal records, though no reward was given, yet. Then came a man named Haman, elevated by the king to the highest official in the land. The king commanded that all should bow before Haman. Everyone obeyed except Mordecai. Mordecai refused because Haman was an Agagite, a descendant of Israel's ancient enemies. As a faithful Jew, Mordecai would not honor a man who opposed God's people. Haman noticed, and he burned with anger. When he learned Mordecai was a Jew, he devised a plan, not just to punish Mordecai, but to wipe out all Jews in the empire. He went to the king with twisted words. "There is a group of people scattered through your provinces," he said, "who don't follow your laws. Let them be destroyed." And to seal the plan, Haman offered the king a massive sum of silver, 10,000 talents, to fund the operation. The king, not knowing the full truth, handed Haman his royal signet ring and said, "Do as you please." Decrees were sent out. On the 13th day of the 12th month, all Jews, young and old, were to be killed. The city was confused, but the palace celebrated. When Mordecai heard, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned bitterly in the streets. Through a messenger, he sent word to Esther, "You must go to the king. Beg for your people." But Esther hesitated. "Anyone who goes to the king uninvited can be killed," she said, "unless he extends the golden scepter." Mordecai sent back a powerful reply. "Do not think you will escape because you are in the palace. If you remain silent, help will come from elsewhere, but you and your family may perish. Who knows if you were made queen for such a time as this?" Esther was moved. She replied, "Gather the people to fast for 3 days. Then I will go to the king, and if I perish, I perish." On the 3rd day, Esther put on her royal robes and entered the throne room. The king looked up and smiled. He extended the golden scepter. Esther had found favor. She invited the king and Haman to a banquet. At the meal, the king asked what she wanted. But Esther waited. She invited them to yet another banquet the next day. Meanwhile, Haman left the feast filled with pride until he saw Mordecai at the gate, still refusing to bow. Enraged, Haman built a tall gallows to have Mordecai hang the next morning. But that night, the king couldn't sleep. He ordered the royal records to be read to him and heard the story of Mordecai saving his life. "What was done to reward this man?" the king asked. "Nothing," came the reply. Just then, Haman arrived, hoping to ask for Mordecai's death. Before he could speak, the king asked him, "What should be done for a man the king wants to honor?" Thinking the king meant him, Haman said, "He should wear a royal robe, ride the king's horse, and be paraded through the city." "Excellent," said the king. "Do all that for Mordecai." And so Haman, humiliated, led the man he hated through the streets in honor. That evening, at Esther's second banquet, the king again asked, "What is your request?" Esther took a deep breath. "If I have found favor with you, spare my life and the lives of my people. We have been sold to be destroyed." The king was stunned. Who would do such a thing? Esther pointed, "This wicked man, Haman." The king rose in fury and stepped into the garden. Haman, trembling, begged Esther for mercy. When the king returned and saw Haman falling near Esther, he cried, "Will he even assault the queen in my presence?" And that day, Haman was executed on the very gallows he built for Mordecai. The king gave Haman's estate to Esther, and Mordecai was promoted to Haman's former position, second only to the king. But the original decree still stood. Esther once more pleaded with the king. The king allowed a new law that the Jews could defend themselves. When the appointed day arrived, they did. and were victorious. The fear of God had fallen on the people. The Jews celebrated, and the day became known as Purim, a joyful festival of remembrance. Mordecai continued to serve with honor, and Esther, once a quiet orphan, became a bold queen who risked everything to save her people.
Esther's story is one of quiet bravery, hidden identity, and divine timing. Sometimes, we're placed exactly where we are, not by accident, but for a purpose. For such a time as this,